Welcome to Deep Thought. Avoid making assumptions. And this is kind of a follow-up on what I was talking about yesterday about doing your own research into different leaders or speakers. I just use leaders. I just left it at that title. But don't avoid making assumptions. Don't assume anything. And that's really not just on leaders, but just going through life, period. Don't make any assumptions about something. Research everything. Check out everything. In fact, in my next Deep Thought video, I'm going to talk about questioning. But right now, don't assume anything. Don't assume anything about a person. You don't know for sure what this person is about. You know, they'll say, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. And whatever the case, you don't assume anything. In fact, I'm going to tell you what, sometimes just acting like you don't know anything, you can get a lot. You can find out something. In fact, let me talk about that. Let me go on a little tangent because I've been trained as a negotiator with the government. Somebody likes how I say it like that. But I've been trained. I've been trained as a negotiator. And one of the best, the two best words for negotiating are, and then what? And in fact, acting dumb in a negotiation actually works. That's actually a method that's taught. But you're not assuming. Don't assume anything. If you don't know everything about a situation, if you don't know about a person, what's going on, a particular subject, don't make any assumptions about it until you know. Always work from a place of knowledge. See, when you assume, that's when you get in trouble. That's when you might lose out on something. Like, let me use people always talking about relationships. And I'm going to tell you what, just real quick, I probably let me know, even though I'm real funny about doing videos, let me know if I need to talk about more relationships on this channel. Just let me know. Just let me know, okay? All right? I'll just know, maybe on looking at it on a different basis. I'm gonna see what y'all say. But you don't assume about a person. Do you know anything? Like you might be a man, and well, it's mostly men on this channel. So you run into that beautiful woman. And you assume, oh, well, she slept with all these guys, and you assume that she wouldn't talk to you, or you assume she wouldn't be into the things you into. But she might not have slept with that many guys. She might not have, she might be very friendly to you. You might be into science fiction, and she is into science fiction. I always tell the story of this young lady I dealt with, the one who really inspired my writing. And she said, I never forget, she was the one who was big in science fiction. And she was really the first woman who really inspired my writing, who really supported me. The first woman who supported my writing. But if somebody saw her, they would assume, oh, she ain't into that. Oh, she into this type of guy. She's into this or that. It was like, no, she was big on science fiction. See, you can't assume. You don't know. When you come into situations, don't assume. You know, one thing that I would say irks me is when people, they see the title of a video and they assume. I've had some people say, well, I already know what you're going to talk about. It's like, no, you're making an assumption. You don't know what I was talking about. And I've said that to people. I say, you don't know. You haven't listened to the video. Don't assume anything from the video. Now, I don't consciously use clickbait. But sometimes I'll have a title, and that's of course to get your attention. But then what I'm talking about in particular in relation to the title might be something different. In fact, I've told some people sometimes you need to listen to the whole video. In fact, I've had some people do that on any of my channels. They'll see the title and they'll make a comment on something and say, well, this is this. They'll say, well, if you had listened to the whole thing, you would have heard me talk about just that. See, that person was making an assumption. See, I'm going to tell you what, going through life, don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. Find out everything. Don't assume about a person. Don't assume about a situation. Find out. Do the research. Find out. Ask some questions. Because when you make assumptions, that can take you down a bad path. You can miss out on so much. Like, say the young lady. Let me use the example of the young lady who really inspired my writing. What if I made some bad assumptions about her? What if I said, oh no, she wouldn't talk to me, she's so beautiful. Or she wouldn't do this, she wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have my books. Like I said, she was the first person to really inspire me as a writer. She was the first person. Now, what if I looked at her and assumed, oh, she wouldn't talk to me. Oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, she wants this type of guy. Or she ain't into science fiction. She turned me on. She's the first person to turn me on to that TV show, legendary TV show, The X-Files. But what if I made the assumption that she ain't into all of that? See, when you meet people, when you come across situations, even when you hear about something, find out about it. I don't care. You might be given some knowledge. Don't assume it's wrong or something until you hear it through fully. That's very important. Very, very important. You want to avoid it to the best. Now, you ain't going to be perfect with it. I mean, you're still human, but you want to consciously, as best as possible, avoid making assumptions about anything. You don't want to lose out on something because you made an assumption. You made an assumption about a person. You made an assumption about a situation. You made an assumption maybe about a job. You made an assumption about maybe what's in one of these videos or what's in somebody else's videos. You made an assumption about maybe a different leader. They might have everything. Shoot, you might make an assumption about a way to make money. You might feel like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Because I'll use myself as an example again. I made an assumption I wouldn't be good at doing these videos. And it's probably been my most lucrative thing that I've done in life. As much as I love writing, I probably made way more money just doing these videos. But I made an assumption. I remember when YouTube first came out around the late aughts, 2006, 2007. And I would see people on video. I was like, oh, I can't do that. That was a poor assumption. I could have been doing that then. Might have been a millionaire now. Now the millionaire part is going to take a little bit longer. Or assuming that I couldn't make a certain amount of money. How many people are out here saying, oh, I can't do that, but you might have the talent for it. Like, I've been very good as a salesperson, but there was a point that I made the assumption I wouldn't be good at that. But I was like, wait a minute, hold up. See, when you making assumptions, you actually hold yourself back. Because you're assuming you can't do something, or you make an assumption about something that you can learn from. You want to avoid making assumptions. Get that out of your mind. Research everything. Find out about something, all right? So, anyway, that's all I have for today. I want y'all to think on this, and I'll get back with y'all tomorrow. Peace and blessings.